2 years ago, I moved to Kenya with a big vision to build something meaningful. Almost immediately, the opportunities started flooding in. Business proposals, partnerships, and collaborations. At first, I felt like I was getting closer to my goals, but actually, I did not at all. Instead, the opportunities left me scattered and broke. That's when I realized something no one warns you about. In Africa, success doesn't come from chasing more opportunities, it comes from knowing when to say no. Let me take you back to the moment this lesson started to unfold for me. When I first got to Kenya, I came here with a huge motivation to build something of my own. I had ideas, but I didn't know exactly what it will be yet. But I was ready to go all in. And literally, from the first couple of weeks, I was getting offers. Everywhere I went, people were pitching ideas, startups, agriculture platforms, digital marketplaces, events, tours. I mean, you name it. It felt like every day someone said, let's build something together. And to be honest, it was exciting. Coming from Germany, that level of openness was completely new to me. Back there, even if you got skills, people don't just come up to you with opportunities. Everyone keeps to themselves, but here it was the complete opposite. So I started saying yes, not to everything of course, but to way too much. I'd go to networking events, meet people for coffee, jump on calls, explore projects. One guy wanted to build something in agri-tech, another person had his platform idea, someone else was building out a product brand. I was amazed by all those opportunities. But the real reason I said yes so often was partially the fear of missing out. I thought if I keep trying different things, I'll reach my goals faster, I'll succeed quicker, but that was the trap I fell into without knowing it at that time. There was one project that stood out to me. It was a digital platform idea with two of my friends that we worked on. It didn't need any infrastructure, no ground team, just a clean and scalable idea. And because I was already working with clients in my other business, I thought this might actually be easier, so of course I dove into it. But at the same time, I was also working with two local Kenyan startups here in Kenya, still creating content, still consulting. So I was in 5 conversations at once, thinking I was being productive. I was waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, sometimes working out and then immediately switching into work mode. I'd work on one project until 9, then something else from 9 to 6, then another thing until late at night. Every hour of my day was entirely scheduled. And the worst part of it was that I didn't even realize that I was struggling. From the outside, it looked like I was thriving, but deep down, I knew something was off with me. Each project demanded a different part of me, a different focus, a different learning curve, and because my energy was split into so many pieces, I wasn't giving 100% at anything. Still, I kept going because I thought I just need to work harder. But working harder wasn't the problem. What I realized later on, the real issue here was that I did not have the direction I needed. That's when things slowly started to shift. I was at this cafe I used to work from a lot. I had my laptop, doing work and drinking a coffee as always. And right next to me, there were 2 guys talking. I wasn't trying to listen into their conversation, but one of them had this way of speaking that just caught my attention. The way he talked about business, the clarity he had, it just drew me in somehow. And after the other guy left, I just leaned over and said, "Hey, I know this is random, but I overheard some of your conversation and I'm kind of in a space where I would love to hear some of your experiences. Would you mind if I ask you a couple of questions?" And instead of giving me 5 minutes, we ended up talking for almost 2 hours. He told me his own story, how he started a business, won a pitching competition here in Kenya, then went to the Netherlands and won another one over there. He got funding, more exposure and more recognition. So eventually he was getting invited to speak at all these kinds of events. Media outlets wanted interviews. Everyone wanted to hear his story. But then he said to me, "Marvin, at some point I realized I was constantly being rewarded for what I used to do and not for what I was actually doing right now. I was chasing attention and I almost lost everything that got me here in the first place." And then he continued looking at me and asked me, "At what point are you willing to pull the handbrake, to stop chasing all these things and just focus on what really matters to you?" I was baffled, leaned back and honestly couldn't find the right words to answer his question. And I was just silent for a second. And honestly, I didn't even see something wrong with my situation until he told me his story. Then he said to me, success can actually be dangerous because every new win, you will get more opportunities, more invitations, and more shiny distractions. And if you're not careful, those distractions will pull you away from what really matters the most. And I remember sitting there thinking, that might be me, but not yet, but maybe very soon. I was still early in my journey, still trying to figure out things, but I could clearly feel the tension between trying to build something and trying to not to get lost in the noise. That conversation didn't solve everything for me immediately, but it planted a seed, and that seed started to growing quite fast. After that conversation, I didn't just wake up the next day and change my whole life. I wish it worked like that, but it really did not. For a while, I kept doing what I was doing, still juggling multiple things, still saying yes to more than I should have. But now, his voice was in the back of my mind every time a new opportunity came up. I would hear him asking, at what point are you going to pull the handbrake? And something small happened where a friend of mine came to visit me here in Nairobi and asked me something very simple, just out of curiosity. He was asking, do you really think you're gonna get where you want to go by doing this many things at once? And once again, I paused because I didn't have an answer once again on a simple question. That night, I sat down in my room, started journaling, and really thought about it. Like really look at my day to day, look at how I spend my time, and then it hit me. I was doing a lot, but I wasn't moving forward. That was the moment I started cutting things out. First, I dropped one project, then slowly I dropped another one. I had more time to rest, more time to think, and even more energy for the things that actually matter to me. And slowly I started to see progress, not in every direction, but in one. And the one I finally chose to focus on. A few months later, I was still in touch with the man who gave me the advice in the cafe, and he probably didn't know how helpful he actually was to me. We talked occasionally, and then at some point he hit me up again. He told me about something he was building right now, something with scale, long-term vision, and something that sounded very interesting to me. He even said, because I don't have kids, I can imagine passing it down to someone like you in the future when I want to retire. And this somehow blew my mind, and I almost said yes once again. In fact, I did start helping him a little bit, a few hours here and there, but I could feel it that in my head I wasn't fully in. So when he asked me if I wanted to get in fully, like fully commit, I had to sit with it. And this time I could reflect better on this question. I looked at what I did and I simply said, I'm super grateful, but I know I cannot commit to this right now. I need to stay focused on what I came here to build for myself. The interesting thing is his response. His response was that he completely respected my answer. There was no drama, no hard feelings, simply pure understanding. That's when I realized the fear I had around saying no, it was mostly in my own head. People respect it when you're honest, when you're clear about your own visions. And since then, that has been my new perspective on things. That if it doesn't align with what I'm building, it's a clear no for me. If I could talk to my day one self now, I wouldn't tell him to play it safe. I tell him explore, meet people, try things, learn, even mess up, because that part matters as well. But I would also tell him, if you find something that feels right, stop searching for shortcuts. Go deep, build it, even if it takes years to see progress and to see results. Because here is the truth no one tells you. The biggest threat to your success on the African continent isn't failure. I would say it's distraction. Here on the continent, opportunities come very fast. People start to notice you, they want to work with you, and it feels very good, to be honest, like you're finally being seen. But that's when the real danger starts. If you say yes to all of these opportunities, you'll be very busy but directionless as well. You will look very productive and feel very productive, but you will get stuck. You will move, but you will not move into the right direction. And worst of all is that you will just blame the continent, the country, or the people around you, but in reality it was just the lack of focus that held yourself back, and there's no one else to blame than you. So here's what I tell anyone in that place right now, and this just because I experienced this myself, and this is: make peace with walking away from good ideas. Simply pick one, pick the idea that makes the most sense for you, or the one that gives you the most peace, or the one that you see already progress in. Then give it everything, because saying no is how you protect your own yes. So the next time something comes your way, don't just ask, is this a good opportunity? That's what I used to do. And rather flip the question and change the frame of it and ask, does this opportunity move my own vision forward? The most powerful yes you will ever say is the one you say to yourself. So let me ask you, what's your one thing? The one idea, project, or path that actually matters most to you? Let me know down below in the comments. I would love to hear your stories, and I appreciate you watching, and I see you in the next video, and I hope this lesson of myself helped you to grow and to make the right decisions in the future. Thank you so much. I see you in the next one.